Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Frontiers of Knowledge. In the last 500 million years, there have been four mass extinctions. Four times the entire world has been totally annihilated and finished. Four times life started again. And that does not include the disappearance of the dinosaurs. As a matter of fact, if we include the disappearance of dinosaurs, that would be five mass extinctions in 500 million years. And ultimately, what's a mass extinction? A mass extinction means dying of a large number of species in a relatively short period of time. So it's not necessary that all life comes to an end, but the majority of the life comes to an end. And when that majority of life comes to an end, maybe of animal species, maybe of vertebrates, maybe of invertebrates, there's a mass extinction. But however, are now we heading towards the next sixth mass extinction? Yes. But there's a difference. In the past, mass extinctions have been caused by geological or climatic factors. For example, the dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid strike. But now we are facing a mass extinction which is of our own making. We are responsible for that. Nobody else. Homo sapiens, the human beings, the sensible beings, the intelligent beings. Yesterday only, 6 leading scientists gave a petition and wrote an open letter to the leaders of the world. And they said that 3 years the time for us to take action, otherwise we are heading for the mass extinction. The National Academy of Sciences has undertaken a study which is called Biological Annihilation. And Stanford University and National Autonomous University of Mexico, they have looked at 27,600 vertebrate species. Now, vertebrate species are the animals with a backbone like you and me that live on the land. And these 27,600 terrestrial, earthly vertebrate species represent 50% of all the species. And the finding? 32% decrease in the population of these 27,600 species. 32%. We human beings only consider the population of the men and women and children. The population of the human beings. But look at the totality. There's a 32% decrease in 27,600 species. Out of 177 mammals, 1/3 of them have lost their geographic range. Addition to 1 in 2, 50% of the mammals have experienced severe population decline, sometimes to the extent of 80%. Several species of mammals that were safe just a decade back are now endangered. Look at the African lions. Since 1993, their population has decreased by 43%. Are you not shocked? I'm amazed. I'm surprised that we don't consider the other vertebrate animals and then they are disappearing. The next turn is of the human beings. In the process of evolution, we have passed through all those stages. Now, the living planet index shows that the number of another 3,706 human species, vertebrate species, also shows a downward trend. So, 27,600 decreasing 32%, 3,706 totally disappearing. So, as a matter of fact, even the human beings have been finished long back. 3 times the human race was totally gone extinct. And the question is that are we all heading towards that? The very conservative estimates that 200 species of vertebrates have become extinct in the last 100 years. This is equivalent to 2 species a year. So every year, 2 species of this whole world vertebrate being is just going extinct. Earlier, 200 species were lost in 10,000 years. So look at the shrinkage of the time period from 10,000 years to 100 years. And then, unfortunately, these 2 extinctions a year do not attract global attention because, for one, people have not even heard of it. Do you know there's a Katrina pupfish and Christmas Island pipistrelle, a small bat? These both species vanished in just 1 year. The scientists, the world leaders, the political leaders should be paying attention. It's not the global warming, it's the biological diversity which is at danger. And the loss of biological diversity is one of the most severe global environmental problems. The severe global environment problem is not global warming. It's not a climate change. That is a ploy by the political leaders to mislead people. The real danger is the loss of biological diversity. And that is a problem. And unfortunately, this biological diversity is caused by the human beings. Wow. In the last decades, the process of urbanization and growth in population has compelled human beings to take over large areas of animal habitat. And they also cause pollution. This has led to catastrophic decline in the population of common and many times very rare vertebrate species. The problem is that this process of extinction is irreversible and it has a very dangerous effect on the ecosystem of Earth. Everything from the food we eat to the resources we use are because of the extraordinary biodiversity of the Earth. If the bees are not there, the flowers will not bloom. The process of pollination is through the pollinators, and most of them are bees, butterflies, flies, caterpillars, and so on. So there's not enough time to prevent the shrinkage of biodiversity. The need was to act yesterday. But even today we are asleep. And our leaders, seem to be in a state of brain coma. Physically they are okay, brain-wise, as far as this aspect is concerned. Otherwise they are very capable. But as far as biodiversity is concerned, you remember that Canada had promised that it will, in 10 years, protect 10% of the biodiversity. It has been able to do only 1%. And we have lost 9% in 10 years, in this one decade. Can we? People say that we can bring back the extinct animals back to life. That's a mistaken notion. It is not possible. But some scientists are still say that we are not nearing mass extinction. We are in the middle of mass extinction. We are rushing towards that. But there's still time to cry halt, stop, and start retreating. For example, one of the famous biologists, Doug Erwin, says, people who claim that we are heading towards mass extinction do not understand the logical flaw. And the logical flaw is that if we start withdrawing our actions, then the biodiversity can be restored. Thereby, the process should stop. The process should be back to nature. You remember, some time back I had said that our technological development, 90% of that is dependent on nature. We are copying nature. So if we are copying nature, why not go back to nature? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, if we keep things up long enough, there's no way that we can be saved from mass extinction. We can be saved only if we cry a halt to our activities today and take back steps. That needs a very strong political will and determination. It may not be possible if the politicians keep on catering to the vested interest. We are absolutely opposed to the word interest. So, another thing, and that is that nature can adapt. This is a positive thing in protecting us from the mass extinction. While we can start restoring the things back to nature, the nature itself has the ability to adapt. Throughout the history of this earth, species have survived by moving to the new locations that permit them to flourish. Now here again, the human beings have a role to play. When they see the new species, they should not start crushing them, destroying them. And I imagine about 6 months back, there was a scare. The scare was that the Asian carp has been found in the waters in British Columbia. That was the adaptation of nature. Nature saw that the Asian carp was being destroyed in the Pacific, near Japan, South Korea, China, Philippines. So slowly it moved toward the cold water, towards the British Columbia and to the Arctic to protect itself. But the government of USA and the government of Canada started taking action to eliminate Asian carp, saying that it will destroy other marine life. As a matter of fact, this would have enabled other marine life to adapt. We do not need the interference by the human beings. Let the nature take its course. Can you believe that the evolution of Homo sapiens was primarily because of the adaptation of nature? And quite possible from 1 million years from now, we may be able to support more species like that experiment which China is doing, a forest in the city. Or what has been done in in Sweden, that they have created one tree which has the capacity to work for 237 trees. Now that sort of innovation can stave off the biodiversity extinction. But one thing is sure, every scientist, even those who are optimists, conclude that our days are numbered. Nature might adapt, but nature would adapt in a way which may not be very convenient to the human beings. Nature would adapt in the way that human beings become as obsolete as the other species have been. The process from amoeba to mammals, to vertebrates, to apes, chimpanzee, missing link, and then man. Those all species have been relegated to the background with the exception of the Homo sapiens. And the nature adaptation may include the process of making human beings, people like you and me, surplus and creating new species that would take over the leadership of the world. But whether we want to stop or not, let's take the conservative view that we can stop today. Maybe a million years is a long time, but let's live for another 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years. Window is very short, and the window is limited maximum to 2 or at the most 3 decades. I don't agree with the scientists when they say 3 years, but 30 years is the outer limit. All the signs today point to one factor, that in case the biodiversity is not protected, then the process of annihilation of the vertebrates not stopped in the next 2 decades at the most, then the future of life, including human life, may not exist. And nature might say, okay, let's finish up these species. Let new species come. So are you prepared for that? Are the political leaders prepared for that? Are the scientists and economists prepared for that? That is a possibility that stares us in the face. Mass extinction can be delayed. I don't say it can be completely removed, but the risk can be delayed provided we restore biodiversity, and that action has to start now. Any delay would be disastrous. Thank you.